that. All about Alaska. A short grab bag where the fuck the salmon went. You know why I say that? Because this year was one of the most disappointing years I have ever lived up here and fished. And I'm an avid fisherman. I know what I'm doing, and I teach other folks what to do, and vice versa. But this year was appalling. Oops. So here's what we're gonna skim over, and I'm gonna fill in the blank in between. Just I've lived up here for a long time. I travel. I'm a very big outdoorsman. Pollution, definitely have seen pollution here, man. I have seen people do the worst shit in their boats, pour gas out. Vehicles crash into the river. I've known several people that have crashed into rivers or bodies of water, and you got all that fluid in there. It's got to go somewhere. Eventually leaks out of vehicles. That I don't know how many vehicles you can find on the side of the riverbanks, from the 50s and 60s. Well, the oil went somewhere. And it went straight down and over, my guess. Poaching. I've seen a lot of this here. This is it's pretty ignorant. And man-made structures. I went over and I did the research, and we're going to talk about a little bit of man-made structure, a little bit of mining and stuff like that, and see what we are doing and what we can stop doing. And then there's poor wildlife management, meaning like they do a crappy job, but they're kind of broke at the same time. Alaska's really big, and I think it's a 16 or $1.6 million budget, and that's not a lot for how huge we are. All right, so this is okay. So Fukushima, I don't know if you guys remember. I believe it's 2016 or 2017, right between. We had a nuclear power plant over there leak, and it pushed the cancer straight over to they're seeing cancer levels rise all along the coast of Alaska on the west side. I believe it was from that tsunami, and it took out two of their power plants. So about 1 million tons of contaminated water released into the ocean's current pushed the radiation straight into the Bering Strait. There's actually a map of how you can see the currents and how they put where it was pushed to. So eat king crab because it's radioactive bug meat. There's around 30 tons of trash debris per mile in the Gulf of Alaska. So that I can contest to that we have a disgusting amount of trash and litter here. The only reason Alaska looks pretty all the time is because of camera angles and lighting. But if you turn around, you go to the villages and stuff, there's mounds of trash because they don't have dumps. They don't have landfills and crap because it's frozen. You can't really burn it because then you're hurting the ozone, and then we got to hear about that from all the people. So boat travel, and I'm not excluding anybody out because I don't want commercial fishermen hating me, but yeah, these guys do it. I've heard it from the horse's mouth itself, from how many boats I've known, and kids that work there, and how they joke around throwing trash and how funny it was and blah blah blah. Well, I'm not even the Coast Guard does this, and the Navy does this. They literally throw cubes of trash overboard because they have nowhere to put it, and you can't really burn it. And this is weird. Just a side note. It's a fun fact. We have some of the dirtiest air due to particles. My theory is that the fires in the recent past, they were real big fires. I think about 2/3 of Alaska got burned in less than 4 years, and which is a good thing because that's how Mother Nature cleans out the forest and makes. So when the fires happen, we usually get a rabbit and lynx boom because the rabbits get all the shoots from the trees grow, and the rabbits just go crazy for it. And then we have the lynx and the wolverines coming in and eating them, along with fox and coyotes. I honestly haven't seen many coyotes here. I know they're around though. They're very smart. smarter than a fox. And this is just an example of like this is what they clean up real quick. This is a day's worth of work, if that. If you got enough people, you'll get this easily. Well, so my theory is here, and I've read about the microscopic bits of plastic, but it affects the salmon because the prey, the tiny little prey, where like shrimp and sandworms, crap like that. Um, they live in this stuff. It's like grains of sand, but it's plastic. They're filtering sand all day. They're also ingesting plastic. It's just it's clogging up reefs. It's very nasty stuff. It's not even this stuff that you have to worry about. It's the stuff that's degraded to sand, because plastic just gets smaller and smaller. Doesn't wear away. This is a cool little sculpture here. This is in the Anchorage Museum, and this is just I couldn't find the artist's name, but you guys can all go see this if you're visiting. It's look, it's just beach toys, fishing net. Fishing net's one of the big ones, I guess, that pollute. And then we got buoys, more toys, all sorts of crap up in this horn. But yeah, this is just not cool. I don't know why it'd be so hard to pay a bunch of people to go with our tax dollars and go clean this stuff up for at least 3 weeks at least. Go out for a month and clean up. And this is true. Poaching is a public secret. I don't know how many times I've seen someone poach. Plain and Jane, there's several rivers around here. You'll call the troopers. They don't come. The fish and feathers won't come. And when they do show up, if they show up an hour late. And ice fishing is a bad one up here. Okay, I'm not naming any groups, but there have been people caught here shoving nets under the local lakes and destroying these fish. They'll eat everything. They'll eat sticklebacks. It doesn't matter. They'll catch everything in that lake, and the state has to restock it. And next thing you know, you're stuck with a lake full of 6-inch fish that never get bigger because these people are so selfish, and they take and take and take. But I know some kick-ass lakes to go ice fishing. This is common. You'll see people snag kings because they are a pain in the ass to catch. And why? Because the kings haven't come back. Why haven't the kings come back? It took less than 10 years to destroy the salmon runs in Alaska. When they discovered this in 1945, oh yeah. And I've seen people, what they do is they run to the truck, they'll act like they're leaving, and then they go hang out at a different part of the river, or they come back and they're pretty blatant about it sometimes, and they just fill up with kings, and you can only have one a day in the river. In the ocean, I think it's 2 to 5 sometimes. It depends on how they're running. And yeah, no, all summer this year, I watched people just snag and snag and snag and snag and take off with, fish. They do this thing called flipping. And yeah, it's a weight with a leader and a hook with fuzz, and you throw it upstream and you drift it down and then you snag up. Well, there's a way you do it that it gets in between the fish's teeth here, and it's a fair fight and it's pretty fun. Catching fish by the face is way more fun than by the tail. And but these people, they'll hit instead of going up with it, they'll go to the side with it, and it's some people just don't know. Got to teach them, don't scold them. And here's my okay, so we got a little bit of man-made structure, and is it doing damages? This has to do a little bit with like mining and pebble mine and all that crap. First of all, this is the pebble mine. This is Bristol Bay. They're saying it's going to destroy Bristol Bay, and it's under the impression that people think this place is literally going to get destroyed. No, it's middle of BFE, Alaska. Look, there it is. Yeah, I'd rather it be up in here or up in here, somewhere up in here. I believe the slope is up in here, but this is pretty. This, I believe, over 150 miles and there's Lake Iliamna. It is kind of close to there. It's a good little way. But look, you see here, This is lands threatened by mining development, and this is existing mine claims. And I doubt these are just big corps that own it. How many people down here? Let's look here. There's some mines. You know why there's a mine there? Because geologically there's gold, there's platinum, there's probably not a lot of platinum in this area, if any, but there's precious material. If there's this much copper, a lot of precious materials ride with copper because it's a heavier one. And look, they outline this land. Like, mining has to get done. If you guys want electric cars, how do you think people get copper? This is such a big copper deposit. You can see it on satellite images from space, and I'm pretty sure just mountains of ore, and it was put on this earth to be used. If you do it right, they're saying it's going to destroy these rivers here, these rivers. And I know John Stossel, he'll teach you. He goes up here and does this, and less than 2% of the salmon come here, and it's usually by accident. I believe they're actually going up this way, but they're this river here. You know, there are trout and sheefish and all that stuff that we don't want to hurt, but you know, the world must press on, and it's kind of to the point where the damage is done. It's never getting fixed without man's intervention. So man-made structures here, I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't find nothing on man-made structure actively destroying the salmon or keeping them from going anywhere. Any of my experiences, I haven't seen man-made anything keeping the fish from coming. They'll go up tiny little creeks. They don't care. Fish ladders, though, see, that's what we do have, fish ladders, and those are pretty awesome. That's pretty neat. I didn't know how they worked until I started doing this, and makes the fish easy for them. It gives them a pool to rest in, and then they jump into the next pool, into the next pool. It's like a big staircase, but you got no legs or arms. The fishing game have researchers go out and net the salmon and manually breed them to help with the stock program. So this is like, you know, a hatchery. This is what they go. I've actually gone on school trips and stuff like that to go see these guys. They just catch the dying salmon, put their liquids and eggs in a cup, mix them around, and then give them perfect habitat and then let them go. That's that fish ladder. So they jump up, they sit in the pool, jump up, sit in the pool, and it's full of air, all this white bubbles. Like, people are like, oh no, the fish, they don't like it. But I'm like, this is just super oxygen rich water. They probably love it. See, there you are. There's a different style. This one's weird. I think it just like makes them turn and go, and, you know, forces them to go a certain way. And this is on this side here, we have them actually jumping into pool to pool. And then this gate, they probably just swim under, and there's probably a little gap for them. Just keeps debris and crap running down the river. All right. So this is where things get weird. There were budget cuts for the whole state, and that was about $700 million. That's a lot. Alaska had an 18 billion with a B savings account, and it was just mismanaged to the point we have no savings anymore, and our economy is kind of hurting. And you know, we can't rely on oil forever. That's why I'm cool with the mining project, because it will help bring Alaska back up. So no money equals no manpower, no boat maintenance, no fuel, no patrolling officers, no operators on the phone, no helicopters. Like, you know, you got no money, you can't do nothing. Rumors have said, this is what I've heard from a lot of older folks and uncles and all that stuff, because I talk to everybody. Scientists and biologists have taken bribes to inflate numbers of returning fish for their own purposes. I also heard that the Chinese are stealing our fish too, that they come over towards the Aleutian Islands and just snag it and take off. That's just, well, I saw the videos and the evidence of them doing it all the way as far as North Africa. So I wouldn't put it past them at this point. The restocking programs are severely underfunded. They're they close. Once they close, they don't ever open. There was one not far from me that closed, and it hasn't opened for quite a while. And the last 15 years or so, they're just slowly but surely dying off. And this is the method of this is what I was talking about in 1945. They had the mentality of take, 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 and it's disgusting how they used to fish back in the 50s. They would block the whole damn river off and net every single damn fish that came up there, or box them in with log pins and all sorts of, like, it was really creative, but it was, like I said, it was destroyed in less than 10 years. I had the Complete History of Salmon book, and that's where I learned that from, because the way they did it. Let's see if we can pull that up here. We're going to pull this up here. 1945. Let's see here. This should be off the fishing game. Like, they should have plenty of pictures of this because it's historical too. Method. Let's see. Method. But, well, that's still used. But they block the whole rivers off and just annihilate them. I can't. We don't have time for this. So everything about 5 to 7 years after, they noticed that the kings, the reds, and silvers were beginning to shrink in size and in number. And they're like, oh, it's a cycle. It's a 7-year cycle. It'll be fine next year, when it never is. So that was our short grab bag. You can go through the pictures. Thanks for watching. And